introduce you in our library, town library. So I hope everybody will be delighted with this activity. First of all, we're going to show you a short presentation, and we're going to introduce you with this library by this short presentation. Probably you will get to know more about this. After that, we're going to show you a presentation by our psychologist in our school, Marija Mladenovska Dimitrovska, and she's going to talk about her field. So, thank you very much for coming here.
A decision to form a city public library.
Little information about everybody. Now we're going on with the presentation of our college, and then we're going back to our school. Okay, Maria, can you?
Dear guests, first of all, I would like to thank you and wish you a pleasant stay in our town, Bitola, and in our country, Macedonia. I hope you have great memories here and great experiences. Estimados invitados, en primer lugar, quiero darle la bienvenida a nuestro país y nuestra ciudad, Bitola, y espero que tengan unas buenas experiencias aquí, memorias inolvidables, y traerse recuerdos maravillosos de nuestro país y de nuestra ciudad Bitola. Primero quería presentarme, soy Marija Mladenovska Dimitrovska y soy una psicóloga de escuela secundaria Takidaska Bitola. I'm a school psychologist, Marija, and I would like to greet you again, and we can start now with our presentation. The subject of this presentation is schools' everyday problems. As everybody knows, as a teacher, that we are involved in the educational process. Our profession is one of the most noble professions, but at the same time is a very responsible profession, because despite the fact that we educate students, we also bring them, and we will develop them, the young people, into versatile and responsible person. An educational process is pretty complex, and in our everyday work, we are facing with many problems and challenges, and I hope that we are going to resolve them in the best way. Because for everybody working in the schools, we are challenging with these problems, but at the same time, our experiences are great, and we share great experiences every day. People usually say about us who are working in the schools that we are going to stay young forever, because every day we are working with young people, and I think that's true. Sometimes I really feel like a teenager, because we are working with teenage populations. I won't be bothering with this. A lot. I just want to say that educational system should meet the needs of the society, and at the same time, society influences the educational system, and that's the complex relationship. And it's always the problems we have in educational system are the symptoms of the social disorganization and so on. Our premise, and I'm sure in every educational system in the world, is that everyone should have the right to education, quality education, and that equality and equity is our premise in educational system. There is a lot of criticism about that not everybody has the same access to the educational system, but I don't want to talk now about that kind of problems. It's a pretty complex subject and I don't want to be bothered. Sometimes, yes, we have challenges about that the children from minority groups not have the same access in the educational system, especially the Roma children, but we are trying to have everybody equal rights to education. Those are the problems that are the most often in everyday work. At the first place is always school violence, and we have the bullying as a special form of school violence and the new form of violence, cyberbullying. Then we have the different form, I'm sure in every educational system, the different forms of discrimination, gender discrimination, ethnic discrimination, racial discrimination, severe poverty, different forms of child abuse, vandalism, homelessness, teenage parenting, absence from classes and school dropout, alcohol and drug abuse, and so on. Those are the major problems we have in every, I'm sure in every school in the world. Now I would like to start with the school violence. What is the school violence? I'm sure everybody knows. School violence is any act of physically or psychological harms other people or damages their property and the school property. And violence in schools can range from fights until the worst form of violence, school shooting and mass massacres we had in the last years in the world. I hope that this would never happen in any school because the consequences are pretty serious. Those are the different forms of violence. We have physical, psychological violence, sexual violence, or sexual harassment, violence against peer members or marginalized social groups, violent gangs, and the worst form of violence is school massacre. Physical violence is the most widespread form of violence in schools and occurs in various forms, from purely physical violence until the outbreak physical violence combined with psychological. Physical violence occurs when performed directly assault the victim with the intention to cause injury, and can be occasional or frequent or permanently, and thereby causing lasting consequences of the victim, for the victim. Boys usually, more than girls, are exposed to this kind of violence, and girls more use and exposed to psychological form of violence. Psychological form of violence increasingly can be verbal and non-verbal, which is attack and deliberate marginalization and exclusion from peer groups. And verbal forms can be in the form of ridiculing somebody, insulting, spreading rumors about somebody. And non-verbal are usually obscene movements and exclusion from the groups and other forms. The consequences of the psychological violence can be serious from the physical violence too. Psychological consequences can be the loss of self-esteem, feelings of depression, anxiety among young people, exposed to stress, health problems, frequent absence from school, and many, many others. And as I said, usually girls are more using more subtle ways of violence, which is physical, psychological violence, and they are more prone to spreading rumors, to ridicule somebody, to isolate him from the group, and the boys usually use more physical violence combined with psychological violence. Sexual violence or sexual harassment. It's any act in which an individual, usually a girl, but can be a boy also, it's subject to inappropriate behavior and sexual connotation. Victims are treated as sex symbols, and by sexual violence is defined as physical contact, as touching the private parts of the body, until the worst form of sexual violence, attempt rape. Sexual violence includes verbal and non-verbal sexual insinuation. Usually, boys and girls are not aware about this kind of form of sexual violence. They think that only the touching of the private bodies or attempt to rape is sexual violence. They're not aware that using the words with sexual connotation is also a form of sexual violence. We have this in practice, especially among the boys who are using that kind of words for the girls. Violence against peer members or marginalized social groups. This type of violence often refers to minorities and members of another ethnic community, students from disadvantaged social classes, children with homosexual orientation, students of different religion and racial affiliation, and so on. This type of violence is mostly performed by students belonging to the dominant community that using these different methods of molest over other children, usually who are belonging to the minority. And there is a different forms also as physical violence, psychological violence, insult, humiliation, ridiculous, slander, blackmail, and so on, and many others forms. Violent gangs, this kind of form of violence is pretty characteristic for Western countries, especially for the United States. We don't have that kind of violence here, but we have some kind of forms of violent gangs. Those are young people who have the same psychological or social problems, usually linked in violent criminal gangs. And their relationship of the members of the gang is based on acceptance, the same views, the same values, and the strict adherence to them. And they are the product of disorder in society, usually. The slowdown of economic standards, the poverty, the different forms of discrimination, unemployment, breakdowns in family, and so on. And usually the members are always selected adolescents and representing related, as I said, attitudes, beliefs, the system of values, and usually have the same racial and socioeconomic background and the same socioeconomic status. Everybody who wants to be a part of that kind of gang must accept the values of the gang and must do something to belong to the group. As I said, we don't have that kind of violent gangs here, but we have some kind of groups where adolescents are grouping by the same interest. And the worst form of school violence is school massacre, and I hope that we're never going to have this kind of violence. It's a pretty newer type of physical violence in the world that fortunately is not very prevalent. It's a form of mass killing and injuring or endangering the lives of more students, which take place at the school itself, and the killers are usually the current students, and very rarely they can be former students who their motives can be different. They can be motivated by banal motives or maybe revenge, anger they can control, imitation characters from movie or some game, and so on. students that make this massacre. I'm going to show you, this is the picture of the real school massacre which happened in Columbine shooting in America. And as I said, unfortunately, in the world the last year we are witness of this kind of violence as a worst form of massacres in schools and even in universities. And unfortunately, in our country we don't have this kind of violence, and I hope it will never happen. As a psychologist, I'm always interested why there is violence at school. And the problem is pretty complex. It's always individual. And we have that kind of approach when we're working with the students to manifest different forms of violence. First of all, because adolescence is a pretty difficult period and turbulent period of development of young people. And many young teenagers don't know yet socially acceptable behaviors. Then many young people don't know how to express the feelings. They don't know how to express the anger, how to deal with anger, how to deal with fear, with sadness. And usually they manifest aggressive behavior. Many young people don't know how to deal with the frustrations, because everyone, all of us, we are exposed to frustrations. But the young people don't know. They don't have skills how to deal with the frustration, and have a lower level of tolerance to frustration. And this is one of the reasons why they manifest the violence in school. They don't have skill to resolve the conflict peacefully. That's something that we are learning through our life, to deal with the problems and with our frustrations. And in school we have students from different backgrounds, from different social status, different environment, and they're all mixed together. They have different kind of interests, different kind of system of values, and they are all together, and that's why we have many conflicts, which usually they resolve the violence. I would like now to speak about bullying as a different, special form of violence. It's different because it is systematically and chronically inflicting the physical or psychological distress to somebody, to one student or more students. It is different from the physical or narrative type of violence is because it's systematically and chronically. They find a victim and they chronically, systematically distress them. That's the characteristic of bullying. Usually, this is unwanted proposal, written, verbal, and non-verbal, or physical behavior, including but not limited to any threatening, insulting, dehumanization gesture, and has the potential to intimidation, hostile, to use discomfort in the waking. A child, every 7 minutes in the world, a child is bullied in school. And this is a pretty serious problem in every school in the world. And this is very important for the teachers and for the psychologists that work in school to recognize that. And so on. There are many different forms of bullying. Why is so serious bullying? Because 1 out of 4 children is bullied in school, in the world, or abused by another. And 1 out of 5 children is being bullied. That's why this problem is pretty serious. We have to recognize it at the time. This is a picture from a campaign against bullying. We have to stop the bullying. A new form of bullying is a cyberbullying. I'm sure that the world shows what it's about. Cyberbullying is when someone repeatedly harasses and mistreats and makes fun of another person online using the electronic devices. It's the violence through electronic devices, writing messages through internet, through email, on Facebook, and so on. 43% of kids will experience this kind of bullying through the internet or mobile phones. Why do kids cyberbully each other? The reasons are many and different. They can be motivated by anger, revenge to somebody, frustration. Sometimes they do for entertainment because they are bored, they don't have what to do, they have too much time, or too many electronic toys in their hands, and so on. Sometimes it's by accident, but usually it's purpose.